Hello everybody, Jason KO4TFE here with you with a quick tip today. It's a nasty rainy day here in Kentucky, and so I'm just getting caught up on some logging from some past POTA activations. In the process, I rediscovered an amazing tool that I used to use that enables super fast log entry. When I first got my license, I logged just exclusively on paper, and I needed a way to transcribe my logs so I could upload them to QRZ or so that I could send them to Logbook of the World. And at that time, I found a program that enabled me to just get them into the computer really quickly. Now, over time, I migrated to other logging software. I tried N1MM and a bunch of other stuff, and eventually settled on N3FJP's suite of logging tools. As a mostly CW op, I tend to do most of my logging on paper, particularly when I'm doing POTA. And this is kind of a problem when later I have to transcribe all the logs into a POTA format and generate the ADIF, and just a lot of bookkeeping on the back end that can kind of suck the fun out of a POTA activation. And Parks on the Air does have a log entry form on their webpage now, but I don't know, I find it kind of hard to use, and I end up typing in the time field, which just screws everything up. And so I wasn't really happy with that. And N3FJP, they are great programs for just general logging, and they do have a POTA template for AC log now. It's still pretty cumbersome to enter your logs and generate a POTA or an ADIF file that POTA will accept. So when looking for a better way, I rediscovered this tool that allowed me just super fast log entry, and now it's been updated to support POTA formatted ADIF logs. Not coincidentally, it's called Fast Log Entry. I'll put the details of where you can get it in the description. Alright, so I've got the program open here. I'm not going to show you how to download it, install it. I figure everybody knows how to do that by now, and if you don't, well, there's probably better videos to show you how to do that. So I'm just going to get right to it. So this is the program interface here. And on the left-hand side, you have a text entry box. And on the right-hand side, you have your log. The thing that makes this program so super fast to use is that you only have to enter the thing that changed from your previous contact. So you really have to type very little information. In this case, this program is, they have updated this for POTA. So these are kind of, I just opened a new log, and these are kind of the first, the kind of 4 default entries here. So let's go ahead and enter these in. Of course, my POTA is your park number. If you did a park-to-park contact during it, you can enter POTA down here as you're entering the QSO, and it'll actually do the park-to-park as well. But so because I did this today, I created this file on the 9th. It just put today's date. So I'm just changing this to the date of activation. And then let's see, I started on 20 meters CW. So there's my abandoned mode. Now my first QSO here was at 2034. It was with K3 RTA and 599.569. So now, let's see, the next one was at 2038, so all I have to do is enter 8 because that's the only thing that changed. And then it's 599, oh, it was actually 559 and 599. One thing that's kind of maybe a little weird with this program is there's not a good way to enter like a state for POTA, which of course is usually part of the exchange. So what I'll typically do is put it in the comments field. And so to make a comment, you put it in angle brackets like that, and then it will actually enter that. If you look at the log on the right hand side, you'll see the state New York in there, and you can also see the time is 2038. Even though I only put an 8, it figured out what to do there. So I'm just going to go ahead and blast through this real quick. Let me get through this, and I'll see you in a second. So here's a good example, so you can see that this, I did not put a time on this row, and that's because the QSO happened at the same time as the previous one, so I didn't change it, and as you can see, the log is correct. actually, this is a good example too. So this is 599,599, so I don't have to enter that, and it'll automatically fill that in. Alright, so at this point I changed bands, but I'm still doing CW, so I just need to put the band change in there. 2114 and 8KM 559. Alright, and at this point I usually like to go through and check and make sure I didn't miss anything. It looks good. So now you can see we have our log over here, and it's got our POTA parks and all the stuff we need. So now I can actually just go here and save off the, actually let me show you one little thing I've noticed too. Sometimes even if POTA is selected here, it doesn't put your park number until you manually click this. It did this time, but sometimes it doesn't. So if you don't see your park number and everything over here, just go to logging, click POTA logging, oops, and it'll add that field in there. So now let's go ahead and save my ADIF file, and that's already the right place. Okay, so now we have our log done. We can go ahead and upload this to Parks on the Air if we want, but this is a Windows only program, and so I know a lot of you guys probably use Mac or Linux. So I'm going to kind of show you a new tool I found by, let's see, who is this? ON4KJM, and he's written a tool called FLE-CLI, and I'll post a link to his GitHub repository in the description where you can find that and download it. But basically it's a command line version of this tool, but it's completely cross-platform. It works on Linux, Windows, and Macs. Okay, so I've got Ubuntu running here just to show you how this works in a cross-platform way and to show you the command line. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to run the command with no arguments, and it'll tell us what commands we have available. In this case, we can see ADIF is what we want, because that's what POTA needs. You can also do a CSV for SOTA. So let's do the ADIF command, and we don't really know what we're supposed to do here, so let's do -H, and it will tell us what options we have. So in this case, we want to generate a log for POTA, so let's do -P, or actually I like to use long form just so I can ensure that everything looks good. One thing here too, I neglected to mention, one thing that's pretty cool is this interpolate option. This exists in the full Windows version of this as well. If you neglect to write down your log times, you can enter 2 times far apart from each other, and then interpolate will actually interpolate all the times in between that you left blank. So that's a pretty cool feature, because sometimes I do forget to enter the exact time. But for now, let's go ahead and let's find the log file we saved from before. One thing I did notice was that this does not like funny log file names, like the typical POTA format, your call at, etc., etc. It's not real happy with that, so I just resaved it as log.txt. Then I can give it an output file if I want to, and in this case I'm going to try to play with fire here and see if I can actually get it to generate the POTA format logs. I think it probably doesn't like the @ sign. Nope, it actually worked. Okay, so it doesn't like that for the input, but for some reason it works on the output. So now we can actually see a summary of what we did here, and then we can see the file we wrote to. So If we go over to that directory, we should have an ADI file in here, and let's go ahead and just cat out this file, and there it is. So there's all our contacts. Now we can just upload this straight to Parks on the Air. And this works exactly the same way in Windows. You can use PowerShell, you can use the default Windows command line, whatever you need to use. Well, there you have it. There's a super easy and fast way to transcribe all your paper logs. I hope you found this video useful, and you'll give this a program a try. If you did enjoy the video, please comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow, and I hope to catch you on the air. And until then, 73.